When I was building the company, I entered the industry facing a lot of stigma. I would ask folks in the community like, oh, well, what about Vietnam? Everyone I talked to was literally like, Vietnam's coffee is gross. It's cheap, it tastes bitter. There's so many negative perceptions about Vietnamese coffee. So I was like, you know what? While the entire industry moves in one direction of focusing on Arabica beans, specifically from South America and Africa, we went in the complete opposite direction, focusing on Robusta beans from Southeast Asia, and more specifically Vietnam. And we're really proud to champion Vietnam as a country and also Robusta beans as a variety that's been left out of the conversation for so long. Hi everyone, I'm Sahra Nguyen. I'm the founder of Nguyen Coffee Supply. We're the first specialty Vietnamese coffee company in the United States, importing through direct trade and roasting right here in Brooklyn, New York. Right now we're at a home here in Brooklyn at Shared Roasting, and today I'm gonna show you how we roast our Vietnamese coffee beans. We're gonna be roasting on the 15 kilogram Falcon, so we're gonna start off by weighing out 30 pounds of our green beans first. All right, so now we bring the greens over here. We pour it into the lift. So when I was first starting the company in 2016, I went straight to the source. I was visiting a family friend's farm who is today our current partner. And the reason why having these direct trade relationships is so important to us is that it allows us to really build a relationship of trust and allows us to work collaboratively in this mission for elevating Vietnamese coffee culture. All right, so right now we're waiting for the machine to warm up. We're currently at 460 degrees and we're waiting for it to hit 485 degrees Fahrenheit, and then the beans from the hopper are gonna drop into the drum. So if you look at like the evolution of coffee, we had like the first wave, which was like the Maxwells and Folgers, and the second wave, which is like the Dunkin' Donuts, and then like Starbucks, right? And then we have what's called the third wave, right? Or specialty coffee, which is more of like the blue bottles and the Stumptowns. For us, we really feel like we're evolving and pioneering the fourth wave, right? Because while the third wave was really focused on being centered around the bean, right? The bean, the origin, the extraction, the variety, is this idea of extracting the product without really paying homage to the people and the culture that produced it. We're building upon the exploration of the bean, and we really believe in being people-centered, right? So we're really, really proud about championing not just Vietnamese coffee beans, but also Vietnamese people and Vietnamese coffee culture. And so when you look at just kind of like everyday brewing tools, you have the French press and the AeroPress and the V60, but why not the Fiend filter, right? It's just the Fiend filter, like a lot of things around diversity, just hasn't been included in everyday American mainstream experiences. So we really want to change that by not just talking about Vietnam as a coffee country and not just talking about Robusta beans, but also talking about the culture, which is the Vietnamese Fiend filter. You know, as a Brooklyn-based brand and company, when COVID hit New York City like in March, and we were the epicenter, it was such a wild time, right? And it was super scary, like no one knew what was happening. And for us as a roasting company, we lost like 30% of our revenue, which went to restaurants and cafes, because everyone was hurting and everyone was shutting down. But really, New York City and areas like Chinatown and Flushing, they were experiencing so much decline in economic hardship since January because of the anti-Asian racism around COVID. And then it became really violent with hate crimes against Asian elders who were like beat up and also like put on fire, like so many insane, crazy violent acts against Asian folks and Asian immigrants. All of that, the discrimination, the racism, the violence, the economic decline and the hardships, and all that leading into just the entire city being shut down was a really, really difficult time for, I think, the city. We also saw, how strong the city is and how strong the community in New York City is, right? That even when we felt like we had nothing, right, and we had no support and no lifeline and like just nothing, right? People here still found a way to give, organizing like fundraisers and organizing volunteer initiatives to, feed the elderly Chinatown. A lot of our friends in the restaurant scene, including 886 and Saigon Social, organizing meals and donating it to folks at the hospitals and the front lines, and that we really helped each other like survive and stay afloat and just kind of like hang on to that really thin thread until, hopefully we can crawl out of this. It's Lunar New Year, so in Vietnamese, Lunar New Year is called Tết. It's a really, really big time of year for the Vietnamese community and anyone who celebrates Lunar New Year. And I think for this Lunar New Year, like teaming up with 88rising for this collaboration just made so much sense because both of our brands just celebrate and center the mission of bridging cultures and sharing culture from Asia to the US or from the East to the West. We literally do that with our global supply chain, like literally importing green beans and roasting here. And so it just made a lot of sense. So when the team approached us, we were super stoked to work in this Vietnamese coffee kit for Lunar New Year together and just share our culture and elevate our culture through coffee.